It's Friday, August 24th. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. My friend Ellen on Facebook says, can we have a video series on the 5 points of Calvinism? It would be interesting to hear your views. No. You know what? I have views, obviously, and I am neither a Calvinist or an Arminian, and most of you have no idea what that means, which is why I'm not going to cover it. Also, it's highly controversial, and I change my mind all the time. I'm still studying. I have been for a lot of years. And folks, anytime we get locked into a man-made system of doctrine, we're probably in trouble. Now, I know I'm going to get letters on this one, but would you listen to me for a minute, folks? These are two of the things that divide Calvinism, Arminianism, and the fight between them. And they divide a lot. In fact, I've had a church split over it. So, I'm real hesitant to do it or to ever do it. Even though I have some viewpoints today, ask me again next year and see what I believe. I'm not being wishy-washy. I think the more we grow, the more we learn about God's grace, about His judgment, about His capacity to love unconditionally, all of those things. And the more we grow in that experience, I think the more we grow in our viewpoint on man-made theology. Now, some of you say, well, it's not man-made, it's biblical. And of course, both sides would argue that. But I'm just not going to go there. But here is a good question from a Facebook friend. He said, I was wondering about your ethical standing on violent horror films and violent video games. And that is a great question. Folks, everybody says, oh, that doesn't affect me. I'm just fine. And yet, studies show that you're not. Now, you've heard the saying, garbage in, garbage out. Whatever you fill your mind with comes out again. And we always feel like we're the exception or we're immune to that, but let me just tell you, we're really not. Think of your favorite TV show and how frustrating it is when those commercials come on and you have to watch them. Now, personally, I don't watch TV. If I watch something, it's Netflix or Hulu, and I watch without commercials because I can't stand them. But those commercials dig in your head, don't they? And if I were to give you several products, you could probably sing or at least hum the music from that commercial or the jingle that they use. And they work. Companies spend millions of dollars during the Super Bowl to advertise because they know that if you watch their commercial and it hooks you, that you're going to buy their product. Otherwise, they would not invest. And that's why companies advertise. If it didn't work, they wouldn't do it. So what about that? When something goes into your brain, something happens. It enters your memory. It enters long-term and short-term memory, whatever. And you begin the process of storing it. Now, if it's a great commercial and you laugh and you think it's cool and they do something that's unique, whatever, you remember it even more. And then they have you, and that's going to pop up in your brain. There are some jingles that I hear that when I hear them, it's in my head for sometimes the next couple days, even though I haven't heard it a second time. And you know what I'm talking about. The same thing happens with music. You listen to a song, and that song plays in your head, and so you listen to it again, and it keeps playing in your head, and it kind of hooks you. Well, that's the way things are. We get hooked by things. And things do go into our heads, and we do process them. So what about violent horror films? What about violent video games? Folks, you can believe that those are doing the same thing. Now, whether we admit it or not is the thing that's in question. How they affect us is not in question. So many studies done that those things stick in your brain. Now, does that mean you're going to go out and kill somebody or that you're going to commit violent acts? No, it doesn't. Obviously, some people do, but they're a little bit on the psychotic stage in the first place. But it does affect you. One of the greatest definitions of sin that I've ever heard is this: sin is anything that cools my affection for God. That's good, isn't it? Whatever gets in there. You know, how much do I feel like having a relationship with God when I've just watched a violent horror movie or I've just played a violent video game? How much do I really desire to love my wife, my kids, my friends? How much do I desire to do something good, something productive? You know, mostly what I do is instead I do something destructive, or it kind of puts me in the no zone where I don't really want to do anything. And so you got to think about that. And if you think that you're not being affected by those things, you know me, I'm a realist. If I didn't think it affected you, I'd tell you. But I think they do. And I think that's a decision all of us have to make. God bless you. Have a great day.